All right, let's talk about head shaving.
Shave it up!
Hey everybody, Clean Shaver here. I have a viewer response video today. I know that sounds a little weird, but it really just came when a viewer of mine asked me a question. So Eric Phillips asked, do you have any razor recommendations for head shaving? He told me he's using a Parker travel razor and usually uses Voskhod blades. And so I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity to talk about some of my favorite head shaving gear. So I'm not going to just talk about razors, I'm also going to talk about soaps, aftershaves, brushes, all that good stuff. So I'm going to call out a few of my favorites and a few principles that I usually go by when I'm picking head shaving gear. Okay, now generally I don't differentiate between what I shave my face or neck with and what I shave my head with. I can make just about anything work properly. That being said, it does take some practice and some equipment is better suited than others, but I can usually make it work. So let's go ahead and get into razors. I'll separate this into separate categories. So first, let's go into DEs. If I'm being completely brutally honest, my favorite head shavers for DEs have probably been the Hone Type 15 and the Barbaros TR-1. That being said, they are expensive razors, so I understand not everybody's going to be able to get into those. Now, the Blackbird is also a very good head shaver. The ATT is a good head shaver. There are so many DE razors that really, if it comes down to brass tacks, there's not that much difference in them performance-wise. You can make just about anything work. Some are more adroit at shaving your head than others, but you can make just about anything work. I can get a great head shave from my Gillette Fat Boy. It works great. There's no problems with it. If I choose to use it, perfect, no worries. I can also get a great head shave from this little guy. It's a Junjia Hotman Tech. This costs about $2 on eBay. Okay, with the right blade in it and with the right attention to detail, I can get a great head shave out of it. No problems. Another razor that I've really enjoyed using on my head is the Merkur 12C, which is a long-handled version of the 11C. It's an open comb DE, and it's a great head shaver. It's pretty mild for an open comb. I have found, though, if I'm using it on my head, because it's an open comb, if I don't have the angle correct, it leaves streaks. So you have to kind of get some practice with it, but it is a good head shaver. So it really just depends on what you're used to. Generally, I look for something that is higher quality, that has a good angle to it, that isn't uber aggressive, because when it's super aggressive, you have to be super careful. I don't always like having to be super careful when I'm shaving my head. I like it to be pretty effortless. And so my recommendations for that would be the Hone Type 15, the Barbaros TR-1, any Gillette twist to open vintage razor would also serve you very well. The Merkur 34C would serve you well. The 38C. Slant razors, I don't generally get too much into slants, but I know Con Kesensidis, for instance, with Shave the Man, really likes the Merkur 37C, which is a slant. So it really depends on what you like. You have to kind of try it out and figure out what works well for you. Generally, I would steer you away from anything that's going to be super aggressive, like the Mula R41 is really aggressive. Any of those razors you have to be really careful with, and so I generally, for somebody that's new into head shaving with a DE, I would steer you away from those until you refine your skill a little bit more. Now, single edges. Single edges, well, there's only a few options that you have, unless you're talking about the Artist Club style, which I'll get to those in just a second. But vintage single edges, my choice goes to the Gem Micromatic Open Comb. You can get the closed comb, the lather catcher. There's a lot of different Gem single edges that work very well. I really like the Micromatic Open Comb. It is a more aggressive razor, but it gives a heck of a head shave. In fact, when I've used this before on my head, I've found that I stay BBS for well over 12 hours. I can't feel anything on my head, so it gives a great shave. It takes some practice, and it can bite you, but it's a good razor. If we're talking effortless shavers, Schick Injector. Really? Schick Injector. This thing is completely effortless on my head, and I can just go right through it. No problems, no worries. I know exactly what I'm doing. I have very few worries about actually cutting myself. So this is one that I really enjoy shaving my head with. Very quick, very easy, very effortless, very intuitive. Now, if we're talking about the Artist Club single edges, then my favorite would probably be the Colonial Razors General. I don't have that on hand. I just got done testing it and sent it off to another tester. It was a great head shaver. In fact, as far as single edge head shavers are concerned, that was the most effortless head shaver that I've used, and I found it to be fantastic. It's not too heavy, it's very smooth. As a shaver, it works perfectly for your head. That's not to say that I don't like the Colonial SE50. I've also shaved my head with the Mongoose, the Cobra. I haven't done the above the tie single edge yet. I haven't gotten my hands on one just yet, but I'm trying to. I'll get there eventually. Really, the equipment that you use, it's up to you to decide what works best for you. And those are just a few suggestions that I have. Those are my personal favorites. Let's move over to blades. If we're talking single edge, like the Artist Club single edge blades, my favorites are the Kai Captain Original and the Feather Pro Super. They work great for me. In just about any razor that I've tried them in, they work great. Now, if we're talking double edge razors, then I go between Boscod's Persona Lab Blues, or what's generally known as a Persona Lab Blue, and a new kid on the block is actually the Rockwell Razors DE blades. These are excellent blades. I really enjoy using them in head shaving DEs. For single edge blades, I generally go with the Ted Pella stainless gem type blades. I'll put a link down in the description below where you can find them. Okay, soaps. Let's talk about soaps. So what I generally do with soaps is I don't change the soap between my face and my head. I use just about anything. If we're talking about favorite soaps to use on my head, I'll tell you about what I look for in feel. I really like shaving my head with a mentholated soap. So it could be something as simple as Barbaros Green, which is very entry level, very classic, and a great soap. Yeah. Not everybody's into Barbaros Green, but I really like it. The menthol is great. Another example of a mentholated soap that I really enjoy using is Katie's Bubbles Water Eucalyptus. Now, it's not uber mentholated, but it smells very nice and gives you a nice cooling effect when you're using it. Another mentholated soap that I really enjoy using on my head is Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements Cane. It's a barbershop peppermint mix. It's not technically mentholated, but it does have a little bit of peppermint in it, which gives it that menthol feel. And it smells great, performs great, and I really enjoy shaving with it, especially on my head. Another one that's not mentholated that I do really enjoy shaving my head with is Sapone de Palo. This one, in this case, this one is a Grume, but he's got several other scents, and it's an excellent soap. And especially if you can work the soap to the point that it works well for you on your head. Now, what I mean by that is that when I'm shaving my head, I generally look for a slicker lather. In my case, compared to the lather that I have on my face, I generally like it to be a little bit thinner on my head. And I go for slickness. I really want a lot of slickness out of my soap on my head. That being said, you can get a great shave with a thick lather on your head, but where my head is so prone to cuts and bleeding, I really like to have a lot of glide. I'm not looking so much for cushion. I just want it to be slick and not get caught, because it's really easy for the razor to just catch and just along your head, and it's not ideal. So those are my choices for soaps. Let's go to brushes. Brushes, really, you can make just about anything work well on your head. A few of my favorites are this Scott Pavkovich Ghost Trails 3-band Badger. It's excellent brush, lots of some good splay, some good backbone, and whips up an incredible lather. And I can use it very well on my head, very efficiently on my head. My Semog 620 is also a great head shaver. It gives a nice feel on your head. Not too stiff, not too prickly, but whips up a great lather and does a great job of spreading it around. Probably my favorite brush to use on my head, though, is a Plasson Synthetic. The reason why, it's just super soft, and it helps me to get that really slick, really thin lather that I like to have on my head. Now, aftershaves. Aftershaves, I like to have a cooling effect on my head. Doesn't mean that I don't like other scents, but I do prefer to have that cooling effect on my head. It feels really nice, especially during the summer. Even during the winter, it feels really nice. I really enjoy that feeling. So that's just me personally, but I have a few suggestions for you. A lot of aftershaves made by Phoenix Artists and Accoutrements are mentholated, and so they do have that nice cooling effect on your head when you apply it. And the scent has legs, it stays for a long time. So Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements is a really good suggestion that I would give you. Another aftershave that I like using on my head that has no menthol at all is Captain's Choice. Great aftershave. Great toning effect on your head, especially if you end up getting a few nicks or cuts and irritation. Even the Cat of Nine Tails, where there's a significant amount of burn, I like it. And it tones really well. It gives me a great feel on my head after I've been shaved. Something else I would recommend is boosters. Boosters Barbershop Classics are great aftershaves and very inexpensive. This one is polarized. It's a cooling effect aftershave, and I really, really like it. It's got a nice scent to it, very reminiscent of a barbershop, but it's got a great cooling effect to it and does a great job toning. So those are my recommendations for head shaving. All that gear is available. It's not all that expensive, and you can really find a lot of this on buy, sell, and trade forums, on eBay, on Amazon, all over the place. You can find a lot of these products. They are great products, and I definitely recommend using them. You can use any of these and successfully shave your head. It's just how you do it. Look for a razor that is smooth, that is not going to catch or bump. Get good razor blades that you know work well for you, and don't be afraid to try things out. You'll know pretty quickly if it doesn't work. Soaps, in contrast to a face shave, for a head shave, I like to go thinner and slicker. And then aftershaves, I really like to look for a cooling, toning sensation out of the aftershave. And that's really all I look for in a head shave. The rest, I can play with it and just kind of match it up to what I'm doing on my face. When it comes right down to it, that's what I look for. Thanks so much for the question, Eric. I really appreciate you commenting on my page, and this is a great idea for a video. So I think that hopefully this will be helpful to other people that are looking into shaving their head. And I recommend a lot of these products to anybody. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Find me on my Facebook page, on Instagram. Ask those questions. Don't be afraid to do it. I'm not necessarily an expert, but I do have experience. So thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and share if you'd like. Comment down below. Find me on all of my social media outlets down below in the description as well. And be smooth. Shave it up. We'll see you next time.